What's up, my dude? Squishy Entertainment here with a video of my Marvel trade paperback collection. So this collection is not really like Captain America Volume 1 through whatever. It's like just a bunch of stories and some pretty good ones at that. So let's get started. So the first story we have here is Avengers vs. X-Men, and this is a pretty nice story. It's pretty underrated in my opinion. You see all the authors and illustrators there, and what happens basically is Avengers and X-Men start fighting. It's kind of like Civil War, except it's more of a big effect. And I thought it was a really great read. I really recommend it for anyone that's starting out with collecting. And here's the one that goes with it, kinda. This is like the Versus series right there. See? And it just has like the fights. Like for example, the first one is Iron Man and Magneto, and it shows you like what happens and how Iron Man kicked his butt and stuff. And yeah, so they have like different ones. Like this one is Thing versus Namor. Pretty underrated hero, Namor, and they just have all these different fights. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. And on to the next one. So this next one's kind of interesting. It's the Red Hulk by Loban McGinnis. It's volume 1. I don't have the other volumes, but it pretty much introduces the Red Hulk for whenever like it came out, like a couple years ago. Not the first. This is not the first time we see the Red Hulk, of course, but this has like a new origin story of like who it is and how the Red Hulk became the Red Hulk. This was made in 2012, so it's kind of recent in a way, and I like that. And yeah, so this is kind of like a different one. So on to the next one. So this next one is kind of well known, but I wish it had more recognition. This is X-Men God Loves, Man Kills. And it's a pretty good, it's really good for an X-Men story. I usually don't kind of like the X-Men. I really don't know why, but this one is it's pretty interesting. I won't really tell you the details because I want you to read it yourself, of course. But it's really good, and it's worth the read, of course. And it's really interesting and has a really good ending to it, and it has a good life lesson too. So this is just the art. This was made in the early 80s. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. I like this cover the best. And yeah, so you can read that if you want to. And so we got Wolverine, Colossus, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler. Sorry, I'm just making out their names. So it's made by Claremont and Anderson. So the next one is on the next. So this one's a very recent release, and well, it was made in 2016, and it describes the events after Secret Wars. A lesser known kid known as Peter Parker picks up this symbiote known as Venom, and I love this story. I do. It shows the birth of Venom and how Venom became who he is today, and the origin story, and I think it's just pretty great. I read this about 3 times myself, and it's amazing. So back here it tells you like different costumes designs, and like that's the end right there. But yeah, so just brief overview. That's the original Venom. I think it looks pretty cool, but this looks like the Miles Morales one. I think that's where they got it from, and these are like the other ones. So, and then the origin of Venom. You can read this if you want to. And yeah, so a really good book. Totally recommend this one. So on to the next one. So this one next is my least favorite out of my collection. I read it once and I didn't really like it, but you know, you do what you want with it. It's the Avengers by Brian Michael Bendis and John Romita Jr. It's just your standard Avengers story, except with his name again? I'm blanking out again. Okay, and has the basic Avengers, you know, and that's pretty much it on this. I mean, just your run-of-the-mill Avengers with Galactus, and yep, that's it for this one. So on to the next one. So this one is a lot of people's favorite. It's one of my favorite, that's for sure. It's the Infinity Gauntlet, you know, one of the classics for sure. You have Thanos, Mr. Steth, and okay, sorry, I was just blanking out today. Anyway, this is the story of how Thanos got the Infinity Gauntlet and just destroyed everything, and then at the end, of course, he wipes it back. I mean, the Avengers wipe it back, and everything went back to normal, I guess. Yeah. And this book introduces Adam Warlock, which is one of my favorite heroes of all time. So yeah, and then this is just so amazing. This book, I can't really describe it with words. You should really give it a read if you haven't already. There's that famous scene, especially in the end of Infinity War, and there's that famous Thanos picture, and there's everyone right there, including Adam Warlock. And you can read that if you want to. So yeah, one of the greatest comic books I've created. Yeah, so on to the next one. So this next one's also pretty popular. It's Civil War. One of my favorites. Well, actually, like, in my opinion, people kind of overrate it, honestly. I think the movie is way better than the comic. That's just me, but it's pretty good, but nowhere near as good as Infinity War, or Infinity Gauntlet, sorry. And whose side are you on? I was on Team Cap, and you could just read this right here. And yeah, so that's it for this, made by Miller and McNiven. So yeah, on to the second to last one. So this is one of the ones I had for a while now. It's one of the first comic books I've had and I've read, and this is the book that pretty much got me into comics. Now the movies have been terrible. I'm waiting for the MCU to release their own Fantastic Four, but this is one of the greatest, in my opinion, ever made, because, well, of course, it's the one that got me into it. Sorry. It's one of the newer versions, I think, yeah. And, it's a pretty great book, you know. It tells a story of how they were made and how Doctor Doom became Doctor Doom and everything like that. This is volume 1. I don't have the other volumes, but I plan to get on them soon. But yeah, so I'm kind of sad that they don't really have any more Fantastic Four comics like they used to. I hope they bring that back. So anyway, so on to the last one. So this one's kind of like a comic book, I guess. So this is the character guide, and I should have used this before I did that video. So that guy was King the Conqueror. I thought, oh, sorry about that. Sorry. So anyway, so this is King the Conqueror. Should have known that. Sorry. And then has all the heroes right here. Just a brief synopsis of really all the Avengers, almost all of them. And it's a pretty good book, you know. It's I mean, it's a character encyclopedia, so just through it. So yeah, so you can read that if you want. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all my trade paperbacks from Marvel. Soon I'm gonna do a DC Comics one, of course. And so thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.